Ledge trapping is a very important part of Smash, and honestly one of the more underdeveloped areas for a lot of players. The reason why ledge trapping is so good is because it adds another layer of consistency to your playstyle, since you basically get free damage anytime somebody's on the edge. A lot of people think ledge trapping is more about having the right reads, but it's not so much about reads as it is about knowing what to do against certain options and being on point with your reaction time. Alright, so first off, this is something I tell a lot of people. Whenever somebody's on the edge, you want to make sure you have a game plan. You need a strategy. You need a flowchart, so you don't hesitate, which is really important. Of course, this flowchart might vary depending on the character you're fighting against, so adjustments need to be made on the spot. But having that sort of game plan in the back of your mind already really helps with reacting faster, knowing exactly what to do, knowing where to stand, and having no hesitation in your game. Okay, so let me just show you guys what I do at the edge. I generally go for these three options: down tilt, jabbing, and shielding. And I'll explain why in a bit. Your opponent usually has four options at the edge. They can either roll, get up attack, regular get up, or ledge jump. And of course there's also characters with unorthodox options, like Lucina for example. She can let go of the edge and fair, which is like an option number 5 that you need to take into account. But for the most part, most characters can only pick between those four options. So what Chrom's jab does is it covers ledge jump really well if you time it. Well, honestly, you don't even need to time it most of the time. You can just kind of mash it, and a lot of times people will just jump into it. And his jab is really good because it gets some follow-ups. Around 90 to 100%, if you jab somebody, you can just back air and they die. Around like 70 to 90-ish, maybe a little bit sooner, maybe a little bit later than that, depending on the character you're fighting. You can jab F smash if you get a little bit closer, which is an amazing kill confirm at low percentages, or like mid percentages I should say. So his jab is just a threat at the edge, right, against ledge jump. However, it's also good against ledge roll and regular get up. The reason being is his jab has practically no lag, so if they ledge roll, you can just side B as a punish. If they get up, regular get up, there's a good amount of chance your jab won't connect because you're mistiming it. If that happens, don't jab again. Just like try to grab instead, because most people will regular get up and shield, expecting you to jab twice, and then the counterplay to that is just grabbing them. So that's why I said 2.5 earlier. It technically doesn't cover regular get up unless you wait and time it perfectly. Because if you're mashing jab like this and they regular get up and you keep mashing, there's a chance you can hit them, but it's small. It's a pretty small chance. It's better to just grab them because they're 90% sure they're gonna shield. If they get up attack, that's actually the one option that cleanly beats your jab. So what you want to do is, when that happens, you want to shield when you think your opponent's gonna get up attack. Chrom's punishes against get up attack are extremely good. He can shield and F smash against most of the cast that they really get up. He can also shield near F smash against a lot of characters as well. So generally people are very hesitant to get up attack against Chrom because he's amazing at punishing it. Next is down tilt. When do you down tilt? It's a good question. So I mentioned earlier that there's characters like Lucina or even Samus, for example, that let go of the edge and forwarder as like an option 5 that they have at the edge. Down tilt is really good against an option like that. The reason being is down tilt clips people really easily if they let go of the edge and jump, because unlike jab, you have to stand a little bit closer, so your hitbox is closer to their hitbox. But with down tilt, you can stand a little bit further and down tilt from a safer distance. There's more disjoint on the angle near the edge, so you're more likely to clip people out of the jump with down tilt than you are with jab if they like let go of the edge and jump, not if they let jump. So that's when I use down tilt. I use down tilt against Samus a lot, against a bunch of characters like just, you know, letting go of the edge and jumping. And down tilt kind of functions the same way as jab does, in the sense that sometimes it'll hit people out of their ledge jump as well. You don't get a follow-up out of it, but that's kind of where you have to make the decision between, do I think they're gonna go for like a burst option, like letting go of the edge and forward air, or do I think they're gonna ledge jump? Depending on that, you adjust and jab or down tilt. So, but down tilt also functions the same way as jab does when somebody rolls. Since it has no lag, you can just punish your roll with pretty much anything, really. I usually go for side B because it's fast. So down tilt is really good to, I guess, cover the unorthodox options a lot of characters have. Okay, and then there is shielding. I shield when I think my opponent's gonna get up attack, because as I mentioned earlier, you get a pretty big punish out of it. But the good thing about shielding is it actually covers every single grounded option. So even if you shield, even though you're not, even though you don't get as much reward out of it as when you jab, for example, because you don't get a follow up, it's actually easier to cover every option. If they really get up, you can just time your shield grab, and it's not that hard to time your shield grab. It takes a little bit of practice, but you can get very consistent at it. If they get up attack, you can let go of shield, F smash, let go of shield side B, let go of shield up B, or up B out of shield rather. If they roll, you can back air out of shield, or you can up B out of shield. So shielding, despite it being less rewarding, actually still covers every single option. But the main reason why I shield is when I think they're going to get up attack, so I can get the hard punish. Shielding is also good against burst options, like I mentioned earlier with down tilt. If somebody attacks your shield with a forward air, a lot of times, since it's a rising forward air, and they don't land right away, you can up B as a punish. Like when Link forward airs, like this, his double fair, you can up B out of shield as a punish. So shielding's generally pretty good and safe option to have. It's just not as rewarding as jab is. Another thing you could do to optimize your ledge trapping is trying to go for a 2-frame right before the ledge trap starts. So for example, when you play against DK, DK is very easy to 2-frame with your neutral B. And the good thing about Chrom's neutral B is it has no lag practically. So you can just throw out a free neutral B every time they up B, and if you 2-frame him, great. And if you don't, that's fine, because you can still continue the ledge trap. The same goes for down air. Down air is a little bit laggier than neutral B, so it's not like you can ledge trap right away. But down air is more rewarding because you can get a follow up out of down air if it's sour spots, and if it spikes, they just die. So keep in mind, against characters where you can afford to throw out a neutral B or a down air without them like hitting you out of it. Like for example, Lucina's up B sometimes clips people when they're standing right here. So against Lucina, it's not worth it, right? But against other characters that don't hit you, it's definitely worth trying to go for a down air or a neutral B if you can. Also, at kill percentages, when you think your opponent is going to regularly get up, you can jab or F tilt as a punish to kill them. If your F tilt is going to kill, I'd recommend going for F tilt, because if you jab, you have to go for a follow up, and that might potentially miss. If your opponent ledge jumps, you can also throw out an F tilt to cover that and kill them for it. I usually don't go for F tilt at lower percentages, but at kill percentages, if I think my opponent's going to ledge jump, I'll throw out a straight F tilt. Last thing I want to point out is Chrom actually does have a decent ledge trump back air, but the thing is with Chrom and his ledge trumping is sometimes if you mess up your ledge trump, which can easily happen in this game for various reasons. Check out Gamer's video about ledge trumping if you haven't seen it yet. So if you do that, if you mess up and you fastball like this, the problem with Chrom is that Chrom is Chrom, and his recovery isn't that good. And he can literally die for messing up his ledge trump. So it's a little bit risky. I don't really go for it too often. But I do actually like ledge trumping once every blue moon. When I think people aren't going to expect it, and I know for sure it's going to work, I go for it. So just something to remember. Alright, that is pretty much it. Even though this was a Chrom ledge trapping guide, you can actually apply a lot of the stuff I said to your character as well. However, if you want me to do a specific character ledge trapping guide for anybody else, let me know in the comments.